AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Spikes your insulin and then you crash. That's what happened?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm fine.
You don't look fine.
I'm fine.
Paul, does he seem fine? He seems fine to me.
Not at all, no.
He seems fine. Hour 2 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR. Presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
Hey, Will.
Hey, bud.
Our bud. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So, attaboy. Hey. Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Scott Shanle in about 13 minutes from right now. I want to talk to Scott about the schedule release. I think the schedule release is a big deal. I'm not going to harp on it too much. We'll see Thursday night when the whole thing is out, what it looks like. But I do think, I say it all the time in every sport, not just who you play, but when and where you play them. That matters, particularly in football. For many years with Saints, with Sean Payton, Drew Brees, they slung it around the yard. They're a dome team. Play Atlanta twice a year, obviously, or Atlanta in a dome. When you were going to go on the road in November, December in cold weather environments, like that mattered, right? Where your bye is matters. I think a lot of those that when do you play Monday Night Football? Do you play on the road on Thursday Night Football? It's a short week. Do you travel after Thursday Night Football? Or are you traveling before Thursday Night Football? Because then you have an even shorter week. Like, all that stuff matters. I think it does. And for a league where everything is played in the margins, because there's just such a slim, it's the old any given Sunday cliche, but it's true. The margins in the NFL are so slim that things like that I think do matter. So I'm interested, but we'll get a player's perspective. Scott Shanle will be here in a little more than 10 minutes from right now. It's After Further Review. Glad you're aboard with us here. So the final weekend of SEC baseball, the SEC baseball regular season is upon us. It'll start Thursday. Everyone in the league, if you're not familiar, plays Thursday, Friday, Saturday in the final weekend because the SEC tournament starts on Tuesday. So LSU and Florida have released their pitching matchups, and there's a very interesting change for Jay Johnson this weekend. He is not listed a Game 1 starter. Game 2 will be Marcos Paz on Friday, and Game 3 will be Zach Cowan on Saturday. So there's two notable omissions there. There's no Casey Evans. There's no William Schmidt. And I think there's a pretty obvious path here what Jay is lining up. But he was asked when he met with reporters, Jay was on Wednesday, about Evans' status. Remember, Evans had missed 2 starts. He returned to pitch Sunday, didn't make it out of the second. But here was Jay on Casey Evans.
Yeah, he felt good. Responded well. Available at any points this weekend, and that was big that he recovered well from it.
So that's great news. The great news, we knew there was nothing structural. He recovered well. Whatever that little soreness that he has or that discomfort apparently is gone. He's available in whatever capacity this weekend. That's fantastic news. Do you pitch him Game 1? Do you pitch him in relief? Don't know. We'll see how that all plays out. Jay was also asked the expectations for Evans against Florida.
Definitely pitch. In the volume and capacity is still kind of being looked at with that, but yeah, he'll pitch this weekend.
So Evans will pitch. We still don't know who will take the ball on Friday, or excuse me, on Thursday, where the most obvious answer would be William Schmidt, unless Jay Johnson realizes what you and I and everybody realize, which is that you got to go win the SEC tournament. Well, you can't win the SEC tournament single elimination without winning the first day. Well, who's going to give you the best opportunity to win the first day? Well, that's going to be William Schmidt. Well, if William Schmidt pitches this weekend, then he can't pitch on Tuesday. That, to me, seems like the most obvious path that they're following here. Jay was asked if he's using this weekend to set up the SEC tournament in Hoover.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's our opportunity is Hoover. With that being said, it's last home weekend, for a lot of guys. Going to get everything we have tomorrow, against one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in the country. So it's a good opportunity for guys, and focus on this with an eye on that is the best way I would say that.
So Aiden King is who he's talking about, sophomore righty from Florida. His line on the year is really good. He's 7-2 with a 2.19 ERA. He's thrown 74 innings, 77 strikeouts to just 16 walks. Let me say that again slowly. In 74 innings pitched, Aiden King has walked just 16 hitters. He's really good. So after that, it's Liam Peterson, who LSU should be familiar with, and then Russell Sandiford in Game 3 for Florida. So the Gators have their rotation set up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and LSU will throw Paz in Game 2 on Friday, Cowan Game 3 on Saturday, and Lee Friday TBA. So I'm perfectly fine if they start Case and Evans on Friday and whole staff it to get through it. This Jay's right. It's the final home weekend for a lot of guys, certainly for the seniors, and there's going to be some players, maybe Derek Curiel, Milam, some guys that that this is very likely to be the end for them, their last opportunity to play at the box. And maybe it's one of those things where he gives some veteran guys the opportunity to get out there and pitch. Grant Fontenot as a senior comes to mind. I'd love to see him get out. I'm sure he'll pitch at some point this weekend, but there's an opportunity. But he knows. Jay gets it. I mean, this team has got to go win the SEC tournament to make it to a regional. It's single elimination. You can't win the tournament if you don't win Game 1. So who gives you the best chance to win Game 1? It's William Schmidt. My guess is that's what he's going to hold Schmidt for Tuesday in Hoover, and then from there, see who's available and just go from there to see how you can make it through and just try to keep finding a way to survive in advance, win games, stack days, and maybe pull off a miracle. It's highly unlikely. I do not think that'll happen. I think LSU will play their 3 games this weekend. Maybe they go win Tuesday in Hoover behind William Schmidt if that's what they choose to do. Maybe they win a couple. Maybe they win 3 games in Hoover. Who knows? But to think you're going to go play 6 games in 6 days is just not a realistic thing in college baseball, especially for a team that has struggled so mightily on the mound like LSU has this year. You're just not built with enough arms to be able to do that. So Tigers and Gators, Game 1 is Thursday out at Alec Box Stadium. It's 6:30 Thursday, 6:30 Friday, and then Saturday will be at 2 o'clock first pitch to wrap up the regular season. The Tigers will turn their attention to the SEC tournament. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the Saints. Rouses.com. Speaking of the Saints, Scott Shanle is going to be here in just a smidge. Love telling you about our friends over at Rouse's because, man, one of the things that stands out so much to me every time I talk to Donnie or Marcy or any of my friends over there, Tim, any of my friends at Rouse's, is how much they commit to being local and sourcing local when they can. Like if you look at the Rouse's branded products, for example, it's the red R with circle around it logo. If you find a Rouse's branded product, they go to such great lengths to source locally with local ingredients and local products and local vendors every chance they get. They're just awesome, man. They've been around for 100 years at Rouse's. You need to go do your grocery shopping, go to Rouse's. You need dinner for the family, go to Rouse's. They still got live in Louisiana boiled crawfish. As long as crawfish season lasts, they got you over at Rouse's. The official supermarket of the Saints. Rouses.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, or text the show. You can text me, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Or you can text the station, which everyone sees. All of our shows have their own text line or access to the text line so they could see it all throughout the day at 225-499-1045, 499-1045. So you can text the station text line, 225-499-1045. Also worth noting, over at LouisianaSports.net, if we ever have breaking news, we do text those who opt in for the breaking news text. And we're not going to spam you, but if there's a breaking news story, we'll text it to you. So all you have to do is text LSN. So text the 3, as in LouisianaSports.net, text LSN to 225-499-1045. 225-499-1045. Like, do that right now if you're interested. So, I mean, just try it. If you don't, then opt out. But basically, if ever there's breaking news, we will text you the breaking news. 225-499-1045. Text LSN to 225-499-1045. All right, it's after further review. Quick break. Scott Shanley's next. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
DuplessisPools.com. 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 That's the website. New URL. You're going to hear me saying DuplessisPools.com for our friends over at Duplessis Pools. Hey, I know a lot of times people start thinking about putting in a pool like January, right? At the holidays pass, like, okay, well, now we'll go dig, and then it'll be done, and we'll get all the landscaping done by the time spring and summer and pool season is here. Well, you missed that window, right? We're already into May. So even if you broke ground today, still unlikely that you're going to be done by the end of pool season. They're not going to break ground today. But remember this. This is a great time to start the process because you start now, you're going to be done by the holidays. And a lot of people wait till after the holidays to start their pool project because they don't want to have a construction zone going on in their backyard during the holidays. What if your backyard was done for the holidays? Beautiful new pool, landscape, lighting, all of it. They could do it. DuplessisPools.com. Check them out online, DuplessisPools.com. In 2021, 13 insurance companies, after Ida, 13 insurance companies went out of business. So many people were disrupted by that. At Insurance Network of Louisiana, none of their carriers, none of their partners were affected because at Insurance Network of Louisiana, they partner with highly rated carriers. So when we're talking about getting better coverage for less money. You're dealing with some of the best, most reputable insurance companies on the face of planet Earth. LAinsurance.net, LAinsurance.net. I particularly want to focus on commercial insurance as well. So if you're a business owner, look, every business owner, you look at your balance sheet, you're concerned with your bottom line. Where can you operate more lean? Where can you save money? Well, when was the last time you had someone shop for your insurance? Let Insurance Network shop so you can save. 293-0450, 293-0450, or LAinsurance.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
NFL schedule release Thursday night. Saints truck along in their offseason. Former Saint linebacker Scott Shanle, good enough to jump aboard for a couple of minutes. Scott, great to have you back, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me on.
It's always our pleasure, man. As a player, did you care very much about the schedule release?
Yeah, I think for us, it was obviously you always check your NFC South opponents. How that are you playing a bunch of games early? Are you home or away early? Then you're looking before that. Honestly, though, as a player, you're looking: do we get to play in a prime time or not? Are we getting to play under the bright light? And I think this year's team will probably get a couple of primetime games. And then you're looking to see on the schedule the games you don't really look forward to, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of interest from the players' perspective.
What about things like the bye or Thursday night football, travel? Another thing, Scott, that I've brought up often is the teams you played on. A dome team that was such a high-powered offense. Did you have to go play like in Buffalo in December, right? Cold weather games late. What about those things?
Absolutely. I think, especially when you play in the NFC South, you're not going to be playing any cold weather road games at Carolina or Tampa. You know what your climate control building is like. So, yeah, that's one of the things you look at right away, too. Where are we going in November and December, and how do those games going to shape up?
How do you feel about the Saints playing in Paris?
I'm kind of torn on it. I think, the league's making a huge push. They're playing all these games all over the place, all over the world. And I'm kind of torn on it because while it adds to the viability of the league around the world, and obviously there's money in that, these other countries don't really play football. So it's kind of, these other countries play basketball. We have a lot of European players in the NBA. But until that really starts to take over, I think a lot of the travel is kind of unnecessary. But from a player perspective, it's a hassle. But you look back on those moments and say, I'm glad I got to play in London and experience that. So I think they'll have fun. But once you get in the season, it's kind of a hassle.
You were on the 08 team that played in London against the Chargers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to get bogged down in this conversation, but just one more follow-up because it's an interesting perspective. Obviously, playing the international games is going to elevate revenue, which, of course, in a collectively bargained league, that helps contracts go up, right? So how do you balance that as a player? Like, do you look and say, okay, well, it's a necessary evil because we're all going to get paid more? Or is all the wear and tear of the travel, all the inconvenience, as you just said, does that maybe outweigh the inconvenience?
Yeah, I think anytime you tell a player there's going to be a monetary benefit to doing what you do, I think everything always goes back to that, and it's been that way the past collective bargaining agreements that they've done the last couple of times. They'll be on an 18-game schedule here shortly because the easiest way to sell to players is you're going to get paid more money. So, I say it's an inconvenience because once you get in the in season, players are creatures of habit, coaches are creatures of habit. And there's nothing that breaks a habit more than flying, 8 to 10 hours somewhere, staying somewhere for a week that you're not familiar with, being on a bad time schedule. And I think players are just very, very into their habits once they get into the regular season.
Scott Shanle is our guest, former Saint linebacker. All right, so the Saints have come through free agency and the draft now. If I asked you 10,000-foot view, how would you rate, not like a grade, Scott, but just what's your reaction to what the Saints have done in free agency and the draft? What say you?
Well, I think if you go back to last year, they hit on that draft, obviously. They got a lot of great production. There's a lot of bright futures for a lot of those guys. Going back to last year, the free agency, Chase Young had a big year. So a lot of the moves they've made since Kellen Moore's been the head coach have really started to look like they're lining up and the stars are aligning. This draft, the only thing that really surprised me about this draft, honestly, was I think taking a D tackle in the second round when I felt like you really need someone to replace Alontae Taylor or maybe a young edge rusher. But I think the way Chase Young and Granderson, those guys played so well, they have confidence in their rushers. And you can never have enough D tackles. Listen, playing linebacker, you need big guys, especially early in the draft. But I think the whole Jeremiah Love thing, when he went to the combine, I think they had their eyes set on him. Jeremiah Love lit up the combine, and they knew, listen, this guy's going to be a top 5 pick. We're not going to touch him. And they addressed their other needs through free agency just in case they weren't able to do it during the draft.
What do you, coming out of free agency in the draft, where would you say is your biggest area of concern for the roster still?
Well, there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of hope. I think Tyler Shuck's play late last year gives a lot of optimism and hope. You'll look at Sanker in the secondary, Quincy Riley. A lot of young players stepped up and played vital roles. So there's a lot of hope because a lot of young guys played well. Now you're hoping you get that same type of production out of this draft. You take a wide receiver early, top 10 of the draft. He has to be a huge factor. He's got to be a major production guy. And I think when you look at it, Kellen Moore told everybody, and I've said it for a couple of years, this team lacks speed and juice and playmakers on the offense. And I think Kellen Moore, after being there for 1 year, said, we need more speed. And they went out and basically got a track relay team. And they really added speed to the wide receiver group, the secondary group. And I think the way the schedule is going to break down, getting to play the last place team in these other divisions, I think this team is set up to no doubt be in the NFC South hunt.
Scott Shanle is our guest. So you also mentioned lack of edge rusher, and we talked about running back possibility of Jeremiah Love. Well, Cam and Alvin Kamara still have uncertainties kind of hovering over them. Couple of guys who you've obviously watched for a long time. What do you think?
Yeah, my gut feeling is it's hard to imagine Cam Jordan being in any other uniform but a black and gold uniform. And as the season gets closer, it wouldn't surprise me if Cam comes back on a 1-year deal, if nobody else is beating down his door and talking to his agent. I get this sense. I would be surprised if Alvin's on the week 1 roster or Cam. And I think a lot of it is they're great guys. They're great locker room guys. They're aging, but heck, look at Cam. He had 10 sacks. I just get this feeling anytime you have a new coaching staff, they're kind of like, okay, that's great, but you're the old regime. And they kind of give you an arm's length away, and they're ready to get on with their regime. And I get that feeling. And that's the only reason I think it would surprise me if Alvin's on the team. I think there's some benefits to doing a June 1st cut. you went out and signed a running back in free agency. It'd be a weird dynamic to go pay this guy this money and say, okay, but now you're going to share the load. I just think this staff is ready to move on to the Kellen Moore era and kind of leave the Sean Payton, Dennis Allen era in the rear view.
It's interesting because Cam is a free agent. Alvin is under contract. But you're right. I mean, they've restructured it to where a post June 1 release would make sense. Do you think one is more likely to be back than the other?
Yeah, well, my gut would say Cam Jordan back on a 1-year deal would be more likely than Alvin, because you went out and signed a running back, gave him a lot of money, and there's only one football. And first of all, Kellen Moore loves throwing the football. So there's not going to be a 3 running back room that's going to be real happy. Somebody's going to be mad because the ball's not going to be in their hands enough. And I just think there's benefits from the contract status. And really, if you break it down, Alvin's stats haven't been the greatest. He's been one of the lower producing backs inside the tackles the last couple of years. Is there still a role for Alvin Kamara in this league? Absolutely. I think he's very underutilized in the passing game the past couple of years. But I just don't know if this staff is saying, okay, we're moving on. We're putting all of our guys in the building and all the holdovers are done.
Scott, they'll have a couple of weeks and then they'll begin OTAs, then into the mandatory mini camps. How much value is there in that offseason work?
Well, I think there's a ton of value. As a player, we hated it. Listen, we would love to go and do whatever we want in the offseason, but a lot of the product you see early in the season, and this is kind of maybe being an old man, get off my porch type thing, but the lack of offseason, the lack of training camp, I think is why you see the product look so bad in September of the NFL. I think the offensive line play is poor. I think there's a lot of poor things that catch up as the season goes along. But I think off-season work, OTAs, run around in shorts, the timing the quarterbacks develop with the wide receivers, the DBs cover and playing man-to-man, I think there's a lot of quality reps. It's the equivalent of kids playing 7-on-7. Everybody says it's worthless, but it's better than nothing. And I think you get out there, you develop some team chemistry, you get a look at your team under some pressure situations, going against each other and competing. I think there's a lot of value to the off-season work.
Scott Shanle, former Saint linebacker, does great work as an analyst working with the Saints, and always good enough to give us a couple of minutes of his time. We appreciate it, Scott. Thanks as always, man.
Yeah, anytime, Matt. Thanks.
Of course. It's after further review. We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems. I want to react to some of what Scott had to say there. I'll do that in just 60 seconds. Let me remind you about Arco Power Systems, who recently just signed their lease in Houston. I mean, they go as far west as San Antonio, which I've told you before. San Antonio to Mobile, up to Little Rock, Dallas, Austin, and they serve so many different industries. At Arco, this is industrial Generac generator power. Generators for nursing homes, grocery chains, hospitals, hotels, banks, chemical plants, gas stations, universities, governments, and municipalities. These are generators built for businesses. At Arco, they're fond of saying, our business is your business. ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. When the storm's in the Gulf, it's too late. Now is the time to prepare. Storm season is less than a month away. Call Arco today. Your home is protected. Make sure your business is ready for potential power outages as well. With Arco Power Systems, everything is turnkey. They sell, service, install, rent you that industrial Generac standby generator. Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, arco.com, arco.com. I'm a little surprised to hear Scott say point blank that he thinks Cam and Alvin will both be gone. And when I followed up and said, which is more likely to be back, he said Cam, the one who's presently unsigned. Remember, Alvin Kamara is still under contract with the New Orleans Saints. But one of my favorite phrases I say all the time is actions speak louder than words. And I know you'll hear me say it all the time, and I don't mean to bang you over the head with it, but this is the point here. The New Orleans Saints restructured in a very rarely used, seldom used restructure tactic, which I'm not even going to, honestly, I could not even explain it to you right now. And I feel like I have a pretty good handle on this stuff. Ross Jackson wrote a very extensive piece at LouisianaSports.net about AK's restructure. And the point is, if you're going to go to that lengths to utilize this seldom dust off the book on the top shelf restructure technique, you're doing that for a reason. You don't go to those lengths to restructure Alvin Kamara's contract just because. It's because they're setting up for the departure. It's why they did it. So I kind of agree with Scott there. Even though Kamara's the one under contract, it's hard to imagine Alvin being on this roster week 1. I love Alvin Kamara. I also understand that everybody's day comes and he's a declining player at a position where guys typically fall off a cliff after 30. But the most productive veteran player they had, they just let sign a free agent deal with the Jets and DeMario Davis. Like DeMario just had the 2 best seasons of his career the last 2 years, and they let him walk. It's hard to imagine Cam and AK being back. One thing we'll watch throughout this offseason. All right, it's after further review. Halfway home here on a Hump Day edition of AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. HRT, ED treatments, peptides. You hear peptides are all the rage. Everybody's talking about peptides. I'm someone who's actually taken peptides for a long time. I get my peptides at Goodwood. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Lowest prices, never any contracts. If you're interested in learning more, YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. All right, quick break. We know that LSU is going to open up the season against Clemson. Dabo Swinney at ACC spring meetings gave a pretty extensive interview to ESPN, and some of the things he said I thought were pretty telling. You'll hear a few of them when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
Have you done it yet? I know you haven't. Dang it. Scone tells me every day, and I keep forgetting. Fine. Stop forgetting. This is the moment. Pick up your phone. Do it right now. Serious. Mad at you right now. I'm seriously mad at you. Pick up your phone. Get your phone right now. Call River City's 1 hour air, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. You're going to call them, and you will literally talk to a human right now. Not like a call center or AI or anything like that. You're going to talk to a human. They'll schedule a technician to come out to your house, say, I want to schedule my AC tune-up. And when the technician comes to your house, I recommend you join the membership club. Because when you join the membership club, the seasonal maintenance we talk about all the time is complimentary. And you get membership club pricing if you ever need a repair, front of the line service, if you ever have an issue, all that stuff. Call right now, 752-0001.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit YourGoodwood.com.
Take a nice deep breath and rejoice. Cal Raleigh finds a knock. He is aboard. And he is very happy about it at first base. The long hitless drought has come to an end.
Mariners Radio Network. Last year's AL MVP runner-up, Cal Raleigh, was in the midst of an 0-for-38 slump. And he broke that slump, finally. Had a couple of singles against the Astros on Tuesday night. And we learned that, look, desperate times call for desperate measures. So Cal Raleigh pulled out a slump buster. I mean, you got to do it.
Anything that'll work, you have to give it a try. What did he do? What slump buster we got here?
You know what a slump buster is, Muse?
There's a few different definitions of slump buster, yeah. Yeah. I'm familiar with them, though.
I mean, what are you talking about? I only know of one.
No, I mean, you change the way you put on your uniform. That can do it a little bit.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just a superstition.
Well, that's the same thing.
Nope. That's not a slump buster. A slump buster is a very definitive thing, Muse.
Yeah.
You said there's several different. What do you?
Well, I mean, I gave you one that some guys will try to do.
No,
so I mean,
superstition.
Switch up the routine, try to break the slump. Yeah, bust the slump, if you will.
No,
yeah,
that's not a slump buster.
What's slump buster, Matt?
It's when you shower with your uniform on.
Oh, okay, got it.
You shower in full uniform to wash off all the mojo, the bad mojo. That's what a slump buster. What did you think it was?
I mean, I gave you some stuff there.
No,
you shot it down.
That's not what a slump buster is.
Well,
that's just superstition.
Look at me learning something.
Cal Raleigh showered in full uniform. It worked. Monday night, he showered in full uniform. And then Tuesday, he went out and got a couple of hits.
So do you just shower in full uniform from here on out now?
I wonder if he was there in if he wore the catcher's gear too.
I mean, look, let's be honest. That stuff could probably use a wash.
Probably.
I mean, we're in May now.
Yeah. Probably.
I kind of hope he did. Helmet and all, like mask and all. That'd be great.
I need someone in that Mariners clubhouse to have gotten a photo. I get taking photos of people in the shower is frowned upon. However, if your teammate is in full uniform in the shower, spikes, the whole nine, cap, everything, like, I think that's okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
You can do that.
I think that's fine. Yes. Yes, 100%.
So good.
You just have to make sure there's no other teammates around him showering that aren't in full uniform.
Just give everybody a heads up.
Yeah.
Hey, clear it out, guys. Clear it out. Clear it out. I think everyone would know. You would obviously notice what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
When your best player walks in the shower in full uniform, is lathering up.
So good.
I'm sure the equipment managers appreciate it as well. They didn't have to wash the uniform that day. He took care
One
of
less piece of laundry.
it.
Yep.
Took care of it for you.
Yeah.
It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Dabo gave an interview to ESPN, Andrea Adelson. Some interesting tidbits here from Dabo. But remember, if you need tires, name brand tires, wholesale prices, ShawBillsTire.com. If you go to the website, you can shop tires. You can type in your vehicle, year, make, model, body style, all that stuff. And so it'll pop up the tires they have that fit the size that fit your vehicle, right? And then you can also look at all the specials that they have. There's a promotions tab at the top. Just hit the promotions tab and you'll see every single tire that they have on special, all the deals. So you can get all the deets, like how they combine an in-house offer with the manufacturer's offer to get you the best price. It's why they're able to give you the best price. Name brand tires, wholesale prices, and they treat you like family. It's Shawbills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills. We keep you rolling. So LSU's going to open up against Clemson in Tiger Stadium. It'll be the ABC primetime night game. College game day will be in Baton Rouge. And it's off the heels of a very disappointing season for both of these two teams. Both LSU and Clemson, as you know, went 7-6 this past year. My goodness, when we were watching that game on opening weekend last year in Clemson and we saw that hotly contested matchup and LSU won it and got all the way up to number 3 in the country, we thought we were watching two contenders. Little did we know we were watching two 7-6 football teams. But Dabo at ACC spring meetings this week told ESPN, quote, "It's pretty well documented. We grossly underachieved last year. This isn't a news flash. We just keep beating the dead horse to death. We're on to the new season." Here was Dabo, again, taking responsibility for what happened in 2025 at Clemson.
We didn't win the close games. We didn't finish in the fourth quarter like we needed to. And to me, that's nobody's fault but mine. I mean, to me, that's where coaching has to make the difference, and I didn't make the difference. So, got to be better. So you evaluate everything. You try to get better. But it's also a small margin. I understand that, too. I think perspective is important. I've had some 12-0 teams that were 4 plays from being 8-4.
I always laugh at the coaches. We're 3 plays away. I was like, yeah, but what about those other 3 plays?
It's a small margin. Yeah. Truly. We've had some really, really good teams that were 3 plays away from 3 losses. And so I get that. I have the perspective of that too. But bottom line is, I didn't make the difference for us in the close games. I didn't make the difference for us in the fourth quarter like I need to. And so that's whether it's a decision or personnel, whether it's player, staff, that's all my responsibility.
There's 2 things Dabo said in this sort of long interview that I thought were maybe particularly interesting, short and long term, and certainly as it relates to LSU's opener against Clemson. One is he said, quote, "The narrative of our program is just not accurate. If we go have a bunch of bad years, that's different, but we've had 1 bad year in 15 years. 10 wins is not a bad year. 11 wins is not a bad year." I don't disagree with him there. A 10, 11-win season isn't a bad year, but it's all about the standard and the expectation. Brian Kelly had 2 10-win seasons at LSU. They won 9 in the regular season, won a bowl game, they got to 10. That feels artificial, and it's certainly not the expectation, especially in a 12-team playoff era, and then especially in the portal NIL era where you're expected to be a contender, which is why the other thing that Dabo said was very interesting to me. Because he kind of took a shot he did a podcast with Greg McElroy on the college football podcast where he said Notre Dame, quote, prints its own money. And now he says he's getting a lot of hate mail from people. He said, quote, we, Clemson, we may not have a $45 million roster like some teams. Who do you think he's talking about? We may not have a $45 million roster like some teams, but we've got enough. We just got to be good with it. We got to be strategic. Dabo's saying here that they've been really good. They had one bad year. They grossly underachieved, put it on him, but that's not the whole story. They've had a bunch of 10 and 11 win seasons. Those aren't bad years. And we don't have $45 million
Like our season opening opponent.
On our roster, but we got enough and we spent it strategically. Okay. The team that spent over $40 million on its roster opened as a 10.5-point favorite against Clemson in that season opener. Y'all have seen that, right? The early lines that are out, the look-ahead lines for LSU and Clemson. LSU opened a 10.5-point, a double-digit favorite over Clemson. Clemson's win total this year in Vegas, the preseason win total projection, is 7.5. Vegas is saying they think Clemson is an 8-4, 7-5 football team this year. You see, you had a bad year, and you also had 9 players drafted off that team where you had a bad year. That was a program record. Clemson tied a program record this year with 9 players drafted. They tied a program record with the number of draft picks on a team that went 7-6. Now those 9 players are gone. You have turnover. You're not invested in your roster the way
your season opening opponent is.
Which is why everyone's looking at you going, oh, you're a 10.5-point dog in the opener. Your win total this year is over under 7.5. Like you're staring down the barrel of another 7-8 win season. Clemson's window is shut. It's over. They had an incredible run under Dabo, and hat tip to them. They won 2 national titles, played for 2 more. They were the only program that really challenged Bama for that half decade. They were awesome. Awesome program. They had their run, but their run is over. And Dabo's never going to get back there because he doesn't know how to get back there. It's just another illustration of a coach who was really good in elite, like Brian Kelly, in a previous era. But in this era, hasn't figured it out. And resting on the laurels of the way things were done in the past aren't going to get you there now. So I bring all that up because as we talk about LSU and expectations for LSU in year 1 of Lane Kiffin, it's obviously go to the playoff. Well, I have said and will continue to say this over and over again. I think October is manageable for LSU. If you can get through September unscathed, I think October is manageable, which would set up a brutal November, but with everything on the line. Getting through September unscathed, though, means you got to beat Clemson in your opener, and you got to win at Ole Miss in the 3rd week. Now, talk about week 3 and what all that circus is going to be when LSU heads to Oxford. But focusing on the opener with Clemson coming in, that's going to be a madhouse in Baton Rouge. College game day, prime time, night game, the opener for Lane Kiffin, full throat. It's going to be awesome. I think Clemson's walking straight into a buzzsaw with a new quarterback and a team that just lost 9 guys to the draft. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Lowest prices, never any contracts. YourGoodwood.com. YourGoodwood.com. Well, now I got a break. Come back. Used to do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number 2. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Agent225.com. Agent225.com. That's Darren James's website. Agent225.com. If you're thinking of listing your home, make sure your first call is to Darren James. You won't call anybody else. See, Darren has the systems in place to get your home sold faster for more money. He guarantees it. It's his guaranteed sale program. Sit down with Darren. He'll agree to a price and a deadline. If he doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he'll have your home bought with cash, or he'll sell it absolutely free. No catch. Call Darren James today. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. If you need to sell your home, you need to deal with the absolute best. Wall Street Journal's top 1% of realtors in America. It's Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Wrapping up hour number 2 on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Remember, you can always text me, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Nathan said, Matt, have you ever showered in your full radio attire? If you had a few bad shows in a row. Not nowadays, of course, but maybe a decade plus ago. No. No, I haven't.
Have you ever even considered it? Has that ever been a thought that's entered your mind?
The only thing that might even be remotely considered close to that is when I fully clothed jumped in the pool during my live stream after LSU baseball won the Natties.
Yeah, but that's a different.
It was Tommy White's walk off. I did it, and then again when they won the Natty.
Yeah.
And then again in 2025 when they won the Natty. But that's not like because I had a bad show. That was just out of jubilation.
Yeah. And it was a lot of jubilation. Man.
Yeah. That
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Love to do that again sometime.
Me too.
Yeah. Won't
Me
be
too.
this. Won't be
No.
No.
I mean, you can still jump in your pool. It just won't be for the jubilation of a national title.
Right. Yeah. No.
Probably just nosing through the trash.
Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we'll start with the Western Conference semifinals. Timberwolves lost. Nasri did not get elbowed in the face.
Should have stayed.
Again this game, so automatically tells you it's a good night for him. 31 minutes off the bench, 40% from the floor for 12 points. Also grabbed 5 rebounds in the game. And again, the Spurs take the 3-2 lead there in that series. Paul Skeens, my goodness.
He's good. He's good at baseball.
He's getting even better, which is just scary. Skeens carried a no-hitter through 6 1/3 last night against the Rockies, so then he gave up a single to the second batter of the 7th inning. But it didn't really stymie him at all. 8 innings pitched, shutout ball, 2 hits, didn't walk anybody, punched out 10. Once again, was not allowed to go back out for the complete game. Hopefully that comes here shortly. Paul Skeens, though, has walked just 7 so far on the year. He has not walked a batter here in the month of May, and he's 6-2 now on the season, a 1.98 ERA. Remember, that started at 67 here this season. He's only getting better, which is just incredibly scary. And now they're scoring for him. What did Otter say yesterday? 7 runs of run support? No, they got 3 last night, but 7 runs of run support?
Good.
Look out, man. Alex Bregman last night, 1 for 4, but the one was his 4th home run of the season. Solo shot. Came in the 4th inning. Against the Braves, but the Cubs lost, unfortunately, in that ball game. Well, I don't know why I said unfortunately.
That's not unfortunate. I don't care about the Cubs.
I don't really care if the Cubs win or lose. Yeah. I think Grant Taylor, inning and 2/3 shutout relief for the Chicago White Sox.
Okay.
3 hits, didn't walk anybody, punched out 3. He's off to a fantastic start as well. His ERA down to 2.11. Of course, one of the great what could have been stories there at LSU, Grant Taylor. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by the Williamson Eye Center. Want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. WilliamsonEye.com. You know, the consultation is free. Doesn't cost you anything. And you can do that initial consult really from anywhere. If you'd like to go in, you absolutely can. But if you want to do it on a phone call in your lunch hour, a video chat visit, you could do that while you commute to or from work. It's going to be less than 30 minutes. That initial consult is just them getting it's a little information gathering about you so they know what they can present to you. And you get some information, make a decision if you want to meet Dr. Blake, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend you do. Get rid of the contacts and glasses forever. If you have lived with your life with contacts and glasses like I have, being able to get rid of contacts and glasses and just wake up in the morning and see is so liberating. It's life-changing. And the Williamson Eye Center makes that happen every day. Locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. Find the location nearest you and schedule that consult today. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. Kirk Herbstreit was on with Pat McAfee and another national analyst who's singing LSU's praises and building up expectation for the Tigers here in 2026. We're going to get to that in hour number 3. And also, I also want to talk, because you're starting to see, I'm not sure if you saw, but the Big 12 and the ACC leaders have now both endorsed a 2014 playoff. Meanwhile, Jim Phillips has said that ESPN would prefer they stay at 12, which there's a very, very obvious reason why ESPN would like the college football playoff to stay at 12 teams. It's the inverse of the reason that the leagues and the athletic departments would like to expand. But we'll dive into all that. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back here after the top of the hour. I do want to talk a little bit more about the Saints playing the Steelers in Paris.
AFR.
FirstSouthLand.com. 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 Thinking of buying land? Make First South Farm Credit your first call. Go to FirstSouthLand.com. It's that easy. Great resource at the website is the Ultimate Recreational Land Buying Guide. Totally free resource. It's a really good baseline for everything you need to know if you're thinking of buying land. Listen, I know a lot of people that buy land already own land. So if you want to take some equity in your current property, roll it into your new property, you could certainly do that. First South Farm Credit can help. Buying land, one of the things I've learned just over the many years that I've gotten to know Ben, Tim, and all the folks over at First South Farm Credit is buying land is different than buying a home. So when you're dealing with a land lender, that is a very different experience than like if you're buying a mortgage on your home. So the experts at First South Farm Credit have been helping Louisianians buy land for more than 100 years. So call First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.